your Monday upgrade, because The View is live. Kick off the week with an entire show of hot topics. Monica says me too. Monica Lewinsky speaks out about her affair with President Clinton. How she says the Me Too movement will redefine the scandal. The School of J-Law. Why Jennifer Lawrence says the key to her phenomenal success is dropping out of school at 14. Plus, one of The View's original Fab Five, Meredith Vieira's back at the table to guest co-host. And a brand new View Your Deal, Oprah edition. Let's go! Here come Hot Topics with Whoopi, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
As guest co-host is the original, the woman whose butt warmed this seat. Please welcome Meredith Vieira.
My butt has expanded over the years. I could really warm it now.
That's why I felt comfortable saying this seat. Because your butt wasn't this big when you started, but, you know, you sit in the seat and it spreads.
It does, it does.
It's crazy. Anywho, this year's CPAC ended on a wild note this weekend when conservative columnist Mona Charen called out Republicans for being part of the problem when it comes to sexual misconduct. Take a look.
I'm disappointed in people on our side for being hypocrites about sexual harassers and abusers of women who are in our party, who are sitting in the White House, who brag about their extramarital affairs, who brag about mistreating women. This is a party that was ready to endorse, the Republican Party endorsed Roy Moore for the Senate in the state of Alabama, even though he was a credibly accused child molester. You cannot claim that you stand for women and put up with that.
So she fired up the crowd so much that she was apparently escorted out of the conference for her own safety. But no matter where you fall politically, does she have a point?
Absolutely. I think she's speaking truth. Yeah. I applaud her. I really do. I thought she was extremely brave to stand up in that crowd knowing that she would get booed or possibly worse. Right. And say what she believed, that there is hypocrisy within the party. And good for her. I mean, the problem, I think, with both sides is that nobody does stand up anymore. You just spout the party line, whichever party you belong to. And somewhere in between, the truth gets lost.
She also made the point that the CPAC group invited this woman from France named Marine Le Pen, whose father was a Holocaust denier and a total fascist and a Nazi. And Marine Le Pen, the daughter, thinks her father was very good and right and everything else. And they invited her. There's this, like, penchant for Nazis now, you know, with Charlottesville and the Neos, and they're good guys on both sides. And now Marine Le Pen. It's like a lot of the people in the Republican Party that I remember. Bill Buckley, who fought in World War II. You know, Bill Kristol. Those people who are so anti-Nazi are appalled by what's going on right now within this party.
But there are also people like Pat Buchanan. Like, there's a, like, I think, first of all, I have many things, but I'm just saying there were figures in the Republican Party for a long time that have been controversial. CPAC speakers going back a long time. Last year there was a whole controversy over Milo Yiannopoulos being invited. Sebastian Gorka was invited this year. Al Cardenas, who's an immigration opponent. Only one sitting U.S. senator ended up speaking at CPAC. Regarding the video we just showed, there's a woman sitting next to her in the white dress. She's actually a friend of mine named Kelsey Harkness, and I wish what she said was getting as much attention as what Mona said. She said clearly this conversation was long overdue. I don't blame conservatives and conservative women for being skeptical and proceeding with caution. And I think I echo what she's saying, that we're in this weird place where just because there's a lot of things Trump does and says that are extremely incendiary, he only has 29%, according to CNN, support among women in general. That doesn't mean that all my conservative ideals I believe in and the tenets that my life surrounds have gone out the window.
Well, that's why people like you speak up and more sharing.
Exactly, and that's the thing.
I just mean it doesn't. I think this binary idea that like you're either for Trump or you're a liberal is not accurate.
No,
we never said that.
But conservative women are being put in positions that are indefensible. And I tweeted Matt Schlapp over the weekend, who's the head of CPAC, and I said, you stop defending the indefensible. And that's what I ask in so many situations, because there are things that have gone on at CPAC this weekend, the booing of my father, and another example. I cannot defend any of this, but it's not conservatism.
Where was Paul Ryan and McConnell? Why aren't Paul Ryan and McConnell there?
Because I do think CPAC has become this sort of controversial, but it wasn't, by the way.
It's sort of extreme, right? It's sort of, because, you know,
the invitation of Le Pen is bizarre. The invitation of Milo last year is very strange.
Yeah.
But then you have Ted Cruz and the president speaking as well. So
there's a fracture in the party, and that's the thing, because you and I talk about that a lot. I think the sort of conservative that you are doesn't necessarily exist in this iteration of Trump's world and exist in numbers. And we've seen this fracture not only in the Republican Party, we're seeing it in the Democratic Party as well. And so, to your point, Meredith, where do we go from here where you see sort of this extremism? Don't we all have to sort of move to the middle somehow?
I would think
to
we
make
have
sense
to
of
have
it?
a conversation with each other.
Yeah.
You mentioned Le Pen's daughter. I think it was his niece, actually.
No, Marine Le Pen is his daughter.
No, it's his
niece.
Oh, it's his niece.
Really?
No, she's the niece of Marine Le Pen and the granddaughter of Jean.
Can I, though?
She's the granddaughter.
She's the
Marine Le
granddaughter.
Pen is the granddaughter of Jean Le Pen,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Right, okay, granddaughter.
Can I just say something? You brought up your dad. I wanted to say something because of Trump's comments about him, and I know you're going to address it with your mom later.
I'm waiting until Wednesday. I think it's more appropriate. I've said a lot. I think it's more appropriate for my mom to speak now.
But I, as a reporter, I interviewed your dad a lot of times, and I don't know if he ever shared with you that some of the interviews were contentious. They were tough. He's a tough guy when he was running for president. He was always a gentleman. He was always a class act. He was always honest, and he had integrity. And I just want to put that out there because I didn't always agree with him. It was my job to, you know, kind of stick up with all of them.
Something that I feel this so often, that my beliefs and the packaging in which my family and so many people I love and respect put it into really failed. I didn't see the anger and the fury and the tribalism that came with Trump. I got it quickly. I learned it a lot closer than I think people in the mainstream media did. But this populism is real. There's a fracture in the party, as you just said. It's exemplified at whole height at CPAC. I don't know where I stand anymore because I'm not a liberal. I'm not going to the other side. But Trump continues to put people like me in situations. I will not defend the indefensible. I never have, and I never will.
Would you leave the party? Would you become independent?
The hypothetical scenarios of an independent run, the problem is people like, you know, I don't know, Jeff Flake or whomever, I don't see them winning in a primary. There's really no pathway. So I mean, all things are possible. I'm out of the guessing game at this point, but I'm still a hardcore conservative, so I don't know anymore.
But maybe you have to stick with I think you have to stick with what you believe. And I think more people are less boom, this is what I am, only because we live in a world where there are things that you see that bother you. You know, I don't know what's going to happen with this Florida governor. He and I would never sit down in a room together, but when he said, I need to make these decisions for my state, for the kids in my state, I need to stand up, I just thought, thank you. I just want to hear somebody say, hey, you know what, I think it is better that people are older to make these choices.
Well,
I think the conversation, one would think,
But how do you wrestle your party? How do you wrestle your party and bring it back to the party that you grew up in?
Well,
what may not be possible?
But it's also it's happening on the left as well. We were going to talk about Dianne Feinstein and this pushback against her running for re-election. I think there's a huge fracture in the Democratic Party of whether or not you're going to go the pathway of Bernie Sanders or a more traditional Democrat like Joe Biden, which, again, I don't think it's as sort of vociferous as it is in the Republican Party. But
that's traditional politics. We're talking about something much worse here at CPAC. You're talking about fascist conversations. You're talking about people who are
a minority. I'm not going to defend CPAC. They've done things that I would never defend.
What's interesting is you really used to be the minority. It was sort of the fringe element.
Yes.
And now the fringe has become the norm.
The face of the party.
And people are trying to figure out, wait a minute, how fast did this happen, and how long has this been coming, and how did I miss it?
And who let it happen?
Well, isn't the disgrace really at the top level of the Republican Party, where Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell say nothing
you expect
against
Paul Ryan
Trump
to just say, all right, I'm done, because Trump's president, I'm no longer going to fight for my ideals, I'm out of here. It's not logical.
I expect him to speak out against what's going on.
Well, when we come back after the Black History FYI, we can talk about that, because the question has been asked, because they seem to have been very quiet while all the gun control conversations are happening. So, but before we go to that and to break, today's Black History Month FYI spotlights a woman who was born into poverty and survived a tough childhood before becoming one of the original Black entertainment superstars. Her name is Ethel Waters. She was the first Black woman to appear on the radio, the first Black woman to appear with her own TV show, and the first Black woman on Broadway, considered one of the best blues singers ever. She also is the second Black woman after Hattie McDaniel to get an Oscar nod, and the first to get an Emmy nomination. Check out this woman's work. It will blow your mind. You'll be surprised at what you didn't know. It's all around us. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
Later. Did Florida Sheriff Scott Israel miss dozens of red flags that could have stopped the school shooting in Parkland? Why he's calling his actions amazing leadership. Speak your mind fearlessly. Hold nothing back. That's what these women do.
I think we need to broaden the conversation and really talk about the gun.
Don't turn around and tell me this was a mental health issue when you just tried to cut the biggest payer of it by $800 billion.
Trump gets away with it.
He didn't get away with that because her dad voted no.
And that's why the hottest political exclusives happen here.
If you're a Republican and you want to make news, come on this show.
Thank you. It's all happening right here on The View.